YouTube. Here's what it looks like after investing $15 per day for 1 month. So you can see we are up 2.35% for the past month. Over the last week, we're up 2%. And then over the last day, we're up 0.87%. Okay. Now let's go ahead and look at what we have in our portfolio. So right now you can see individual cash, we've got $10.43. And then we've got $296.63 invested. Now, this $10 is sitting here because we did have days over the last month where the markets were closed. And so basically what I did was on those days that they were closed, I just let it sit there and I've started to allocate some of the capital towards uh, ETFs that are going to protect us in case the market starts to fall down. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So you can see what we've got going on here. The SCHD is starting to get closer to that 40% mark that we want to see for our portfolio. So if I open this up, it's just going to show us the amount of shares we have in SCHD, what the percentage is as far as diversity. So you can see uh, we've got 48% allocated in our portfolio. Again, we want to get this down to 40%, and it's been coming down each week. We've got 1.782 shares at an average cost of $77.83. Total return is $3.73, which is 2.69%. And today we're up 1.35%, also known as $1.89. Now, for those of you that missed the last video, we did get our first dividend payment, which was 70 cents. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So basically we had that reinvested. Now, what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks if the market pulls back? What we're going to do is change this $6 per day that we're putting into SCHD until maybe $3 a day or $4 a day, and then we'll take the remainder $3 or $4 and put it in something that like an Apple or Microsoft or something that we know is going to be here long term and not going to go anywhere. So for that, those are the plans that we have. So as this market keeps going up, we're just going to keep putting into SCHD, and it's been doing us just fine so far. You can see it's not volatile at all. And in fact, it's coming to handy for us here. Okay. Now you can see we've got Home Depot. I don't know if you guys remember when we bought $10 worth a couple of weeks ago at $339. Now you see we're all the way back up to $363, which brings us up. Let's look at the percentage here. All right. So this is going to bring us up. This thing loads for us. There we go. So it brings us up, as we can see. So we're total up 7.1% in that portion of our portfolio. For diversity, we have 3.6% invested in Home Depot, which is 0.029 shares. And today's return, we're looking at 2.76%. So we're doing pretty good here. All right. Now, if we scroll up here, you can see it's had a fantastic day today. And this is what we like to see. Okay. Now, let's go back and look at what else we've got going on in the portfolio. So next, what we have on the list is Apple. Okay. Now, Apple, a lot of people were saying when it hit like $215, they were like, oh, this is about as high as it's going to go. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see it really going much further than that for this particular cycle, but it ended up surprising us and it's still going. So right now with Apple, we're sitting at about $233 per share, $232.20 per share. You can see that it is 4.6% of our portfolio. We've got 0.05 shares. And over the next, couple of months, we'll start to get closer to, maybe a half a share or so. But it's all about being patient. Okay. Like I said before, if this thing decides it wants to pull back, then guess what? We are going to make alterations to our portfolio and to how much we allocate towards Apple. But for our total return, you can see that we're up 4.89%. On a day, we're up 1.889%. Okay. And so again, you see right now, we're just putting $1 a day in this thing. But if it drops, we may change that to $3, $4, $5 per day, depending on how much it falls, if it falls. Okay. So let's look at what's next on the list. Next on the list, we have, sorry, I went to the wrong one. We have NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is one of the ones that, we want to be kind of careful because it moves pretty quickly. And I want this portfolio to not be so volatile, if that makes sense. So right now, you see, we bought $5 when it went under $120 per share. Right now, we're at $131, and if it goes back under 120, we may buy more, or we may wait until it goes under 115 or 110. So let's look at what we're looking at as far as portfolio diversity. And let me know in the comments, guys. Are you guys touching NVIDIA at all? I would love to hear what you guys are doing with it. Now, again, this is the YouTube portfolio. I've got several other portfolios that we've got way more in, but this is for our YouTube purposes, okay? And we'll probably give this, to save this for our kids when they get a little bit older. So that's kind of the plan with this. Now, portfolio diversity, we're at 1.85% for NVIDIA, zero point zero 0.04 shares. Total return we're up 9.61% at the time of this recording, and on a day we're up 3.14%. So we're doing really well on that. If it starts to fall, we'll get it in a rotation. We'll put $1 a day in, or 2 or 3, kind of depending on how much it falls, if it falls. But overall, this has been one of the best stocks of the year as far as total return. Now, you can see we've got Eli Lilly next. And I remember that there was a time period over the last couple of weeks where it had fallen. So we allocated a little bit more towards Eli Lilly. Sorry, that was the wrong one. So you can see that we have 4.54% of our portfolio is tied to Eli Lilly, 0.01 shares right now. Total return, we're at 3.5%, which is pretty good. On a day, we're up 1.3%. So, yeah, another one that we're just kind of putting $1 a day in, because when we started this, it was kind of high price. So that's why we've been putting $1 a day in these individual stocks, and then a little bit more in the SCHD, because it's not going to fluctuate much, and we're going to come out on top by getting those dividends every quarter. So that's why we're doing it like that. Okay. Now, next on the list, we have Vanguard Total International. It's an ETF that tracks international stocks. So stocks that I could get in individually, but because I don't necessarily keep up with international stocks as much, I just rather get an ETF that tracks them. So that is 4.52% of our portfolio, which is 0.21, which is really good. We're getting close to having an entire share. Total return was up 3.12%. Nice and slow, steady growth. On the day, we're up 1.05%. Now, just in case you guys don't know what's in this thing, you got TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. You've got Novo Nordisk. You've got ASML, Tencent, Nestle, Toyota, Samsung, Shell, Novartis. So a lot of names that you probably recognize. And so this is why we have this ETF. That way, we don't have to necessarily keep up with what's going on internationally per se, but we have an ETF that'll do that and get us a little bit more diversified if the market decides it wants to kind of fall down. Next, we have Coca-Cola. Now, Coca-Cola has made a comeback today. The last time I looked, we were down. So, to be honest with you guys, I'm pretty surprised to see that it's up. So, it's just a pretty nice overall day for the markets after we kind of pulled back yesterday. Now it seems like we're going to be back off to the races. Now, Coca-Cola is 4.77% of our portfolio. 0.22 shares is what we have. So by what is this? So by maybe Octoberish, we'll have a full share of this, unless it starts to fall more and we start to allocate more capital to this stock. Okay, so you can see total return was 1.07%. For the day, we're up 1.43%, which is nice. We're waiting on that dividend to come, so that's kind of what I've been waiting on. I'm pretty excited to be receiving dividends in this portfolio. Okay. Next, we have JP Morgan Chase, and they actually had earnings today. Now, they beat on earnings per share. They also beat on revenue, but from what I read, the revenue is only up because of a partnership they have with Visa. So if they didn't have that partnership with Visa, they wouldn't have been up the way they are. So I don't really care per se, as long as I'm getting something out of it. I'm fine. But you can see we are receiving a dividend. It looks like on July the 31st, and we're going to get 4 cents. So as this gets bigger, we're going to get more and more. So if we had $130 tied into this, we would be getting 40 cents. If we had $1,400, we would be getting $40. So you can see as this starts to compound on top of each other, these dividends are going to be getting bigger and bigger. Now, portfolio diversity, we've got 4.42% going to Chase. We're at 0.06 as far as shares. Total return, we're up 0.77%. And then total return for the day, we are actually down 0.69%. But hey, I want this dividend. I want that 4%. I want that 4 cent dividend. All right, so Visa is next on the list, which is one of my favorite stocks. And I wanted to get MasterCard in here, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of months. Maybe we'll get a little bit of MasterCard in here as well. But you can see we have them at 5.4%. Now, this is one of those stocks we've allocated a little bit more capital to because it had periods over the last couple of weeks where it had fallen down to prices that we viewed as buyable, right? So look at this. Highs this year were $290.37. At this time, I think they are battling some lawsuits. And so once they get out of that, I would expect us to go back to retest all-time highs. Okay. So for today, we are up 1.4%. Total return was up 0.04%. Excuse me. So yeah, over the long haul, we're going to go back to retest $300 a share. I know that's coming soon. Okay. Now, next on the list, we have Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft has been peeling back a little bit over the last week or so. And you can see that portfolio diversity, we're at 4.3%, 0.02 shares, and then our total return is actually down. It is down 0.48%. On the day, we are up 1 cent. Okay. Now, this past week, we were up really nicely, and then we kind of cooled off a bit. So you can see we were all the way up to 469. and now we're at 455. So, this is why it's good to be diversified. Now, one of the things I wanted to cover with you guys really quick is this ProShares Ultra Short QQQ. Now, because tech has been kind of carrying the markets, we wanted to hedge against our portfolio with an ETF that would kind of back us up if the stock market were to drop. So today, you can see that we are down 3.67%, but overall we're up 0.82%. Yesterday we were up pretty nicely on it, but this is something I'm going to let sit here and kind of see what happens with Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, which have been like the three heaviest stocks that we have in the market. So if they fall or one of them falls really nicely, we'll start to make some money, take some money out of here, and then put it back into our portfolio. So eventually we are going to capitalize on having this as a backup. All right. So you guys want to know about hedging your portfolio? This is a way you can do it by picking an ETF that shorts certain segments of the market. Now we're down to our last two. Let's take a look at Amazon. Now, Amazon, we had gotten up to $200 per share this week, tested it, got rejected. Now, today is a day that the market has overall recovered, but Amazon is still kind of struggling a little bit to move like the rest of the market. So portfolio diversity, we're 4.36%, 0.02 shares. Total return, we're down about 0.5%, and today we're actually up about 0.33%. So Amazon with their AWS and everything they're doing, I know it'll blast past 200 soon. I'm more than sure of that. All right, now last on the list, Costco, which is a surprise to me because they've been up for quite some time. This particular last couple of weeks. So right now we are down just a little bit. This thing will load up for us here. There we go. So you can see that this is 4.64% of our portfolio, 0.01 shares, and our total return is negative 1.78%. And today we're down 2 cents. Okay. Now, overall, guys, this is what's going on and how it looks after you invest for a month of $15 per day. Hey, the market is doing nice. The portfolio is benefiting. And as the market starts to rotate and maybe start to come down, we'll make some changes. All right. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And we're out, guys. Peace.